So one of the more sort of serene experiences, I would say, of E3 is Abzu. First of all, can you just give us a brief sort of overview of what kind of game this is?
Absolutely. So Abzu is an underwater exploration game, and you control a diver who's lost in an ocean world, and you have to go deeper to discover your purpose and yourself.
What was your inspiration to sort of come up with this concept and sort of...
Absolutely. So I'm a scuba diver, and I've had some incredible experiences diving off the coast here of California, playing with sea lions and navigating kelp forests. And there's a sense of majesty in exploring this new space that I thought I could bring in the form of a video game to players. So that was a big inspiration for us.
I've also had some experience with sea lions, wonderful creatures. One thing that strikes me about being underwater with animals that are native to underwater is how effortlessly they sort of behave with the waves, and sort of they never crash into anything, and they just exist there as it's natural, while we're sort of a little bit cumbersome.
Exactly. There's a kind of elegance to the movement of sea life that we wanted to capture in the game as well, and we wanted to allow the player to have that ability with their own character. One of the things about Abzu is that it's not a simulation of scuba diving. It's more trying to get at the essence of what scuba diving wishes it could be. We have no air gauge, so you don't have to worry about having to come back out of the water, and we let you swim extremely fluidly, which are two things that are really hard to do with scuba diving. So yeah, it's definitely got an element of elegant motion.
Is that also why you went with the art style that is a little bit more stylized than...
Absolutely, yeah. The art style also reflects the fact that we're trying to capture the essence of things rather than a realistic representation. We want to really get at what is so important that makes these things actually fish, or actually divers, or actually kelp forests. Like, what's the magic core of things? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it translates beautifully, and you can really sort of... It doesn't... Sometimes it's almost easier to see what something is when it's stylized, when it's sort of representation, because you sort of immediately grasp it.
I think so, and I think that it gives the player an expectation that the game is going to take them to a place that's very magical, but yet hopefully meaningful.
There's this this game is also part of a greater trend, if you will, of these games that sort of not push the pace on you, where you sort of a little bit more leisurely can explore and take your time. What do you think it is about that? That sort of what appeals to you about that sort of game?
Well, I think that a game like that allows the player to experience it at their own pace. They can actually kind of explore the environments and see their own story in it. And we're not forcing a narrative. There's a lot of games that have an open world sandbox, and they also have this narrative, and they kind of are at odds with each other. So the open world is saying, hey, just play around, it's fun, and the narrative is saying, move on, move on, move on. And so what we wanted to do was avoid that kind of conflict. So the world and the narrative move at your own pace, and I think that is very attractive to a lot of people at these times. Yeah.
So what's the plan ahead with Abzu, platforms and release dates and all that kind of details?
So we're still early in development, but we're shooting to release in 2016, the early half, hopefully, and it's going to be on PS4 and PC at launch.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, definitely. Nice to meet you. Thank you.